My home country is Eritrea, and it is ruled by a dictator. This meant that I couldn't go to school much. My only future was to go into the military and spend my life as a soldier. My father has been one for 30 years, so without having any other opportunities, I knew I had to leave. I left without telling my parents because they knew how dangerous the journey would be, and they were right. So with a friend, I escaped to the city, and after a few months went from there to Ethiopia. It took us a week to get there on foot. Yeah. But soldiers from Ethiopia caught us and sent us to a refugee camp with tiny rooms where you had to beg to share with other refugees. But it was still okay there, with people of the same language and culture. But I had spent those 5 months in Ethiopia barely having enough to eat. It was time to go. We escaped to Sudan in small 7.5-ton trucks. There were over 100 people and we were crammed together. We only traveled at night. During the day, we hid in a small room. On the truck, we were covered in tarpaulin so that we looked like goods. It was very hot. There were women, some pregnant and children. Thankfully, none of them died. We drove from Ethiopia to Sudan. We were then locked into a small room and we were told, until you pay $1,500, you can't get out. So you had to buy yourself out. I knew I had to pay it because if I didn't, then I might die. I called my father. He collected money for a fortnight from the grandfathers. He sold the cows, sold everything. The money was sent to traffickers and only then was I allowed to go free from the capital. I had to wait 2 weeks until I found a trafficker to get to Libya. Getting to Libya, across the Sahara, that was the worst. There were over 30 of us in small cars. There wasn't enough food or water. The problem was that even if I ate, I had to spit it out. It was very hot. So little water. The worst thing was that the traffickers put petrol in it so we wouldn't drink it all at once. Somehow we found the will to survive. We drove mostly at night, and so fast, because you could get ambushed by traffickers from Ethiopia or Sudan who would shoot the tires so you couldn't drive on. Yeah, traffickers stealing from other traffickers. They didn't want to kill you, they just wanted the money they could get from stealing you and selling you. They kidnap who they want and then the drivers drive on like maniacs. That's how 5 women and children from our group died. And we had to leave them there. So quickly. Otherwise, we would have been taken and sold on. It's all about money. They don't give a shit whether you're sick, thirsty, starving, or dead. It took us a week to get to Libya. When we got there, we were imprisoned in the big hall with 400 men, women, and children. After 2 months, my father raised another $1,500 for my release. But because of the war in Libya, we weren't allowed passage through neighboring countries. We got a ration of plain noodles once a day. We couldn't take a shower. There wasn't enough food or water, and we were so close together, most people got scabies, diarrhea, and worse. We were constantly beaten by the Libyans or the traffickers because if you were too loud, others might come to steal you and you'd be resold. And your own traffickers would say to you, if you pay us $1,500, then I won't give you to them. I needed to get to Italy, which was dangerous and cost extra. But my father had no money left, so I asked my uncle if he had not paid, then I'd be there still. The traffickers put us onto makeshift boats with 2 floors. The women upstairs and us downstairs. It was so stuffy you couldn't breathe. Water leaked in from below. It was so salty and it hurt. The boat was made out of wood. There was another behind us towing our engine. So, 2 boats, 1 engine, 300 of us and 400 of them. After only 4 hours of sailing, the engine broke down and everyone started shouting, "We're sinking." We couldn't do anything. We couldn't swim either. Just sky and water. Where could you go? Yeah. It was all in front of my eyes again. Over 1,500 people were rescued that day. It was 2015 and back then this happened almost daily. Like the Sahara, I never thought we would survive. But now there is only water. And I thought it was my fault. For when I wasn't good, it's time to die. Suddenly lifeboats came and rescuers calmed us down. We remained 2 days on the boat, and it took us another 2 days to get to Milan by bus. They gave us some food and finally a shower and some clothes, but it was so cold, and after only 1 night we had nowhere to stay. After our fingerprinting, everybody wanted to leave. We had to wait 3 days until we could collect money to buy tickets. There were so many of us, we had tickets but no ID. Eventually, we got the train to Germany through Austria. I wanted to go to relatives in Bavaria. But police forced 6 of us off the train and took us to a huge hall and examined us naked. Men, women, and children, all together. I had reported that I had come here illegally, that I felt vulnerable, and I applied for asylum and fingerprinting. Then I spent 2 weeks in a reception center for under-18s, and from there I went to Munich. I was soon sent to a home for 8 months where I went on strike for most days because of the food, just cheese and salami for dinner. We needed something warm. I was sent to another home for 3 months, in another youth center for 3 months, and it was difficult there because the girl who was only 21 didn't look after us properly. She wasn't there that often, so sometimes we had nothing to eat. We ran away. After this, I went to many different places between my relatives and youth facilities. I don't understand why young people are treated like this. I have experienced so many bad things, and now I had all of this insecurity. I wondered, am I not worth anything anymore? 2 years ago, I was having fun at a festival with some German colleagues. I was the only black guy there. One of them came up to me with some empty bottles and said, "You collect the empty bottles. You don't do anything else but enjoy our taxes." I thought I belonged, but it seemed I didn't because I looked different and I came from somewhere else. Even 3 weeks ago on the construction site, the German concrete driver asked, "What is this black Negro doing here?" Adolf wouldn't be happy. Moments like this, you realize that you are nothing to some people. They didn't know my story, that on the run I was sick and no one cared, that I had no showers and my skin was full of scabs, that I was human and no one gave a damn if I died. I know I'm lucky with what I have now, but what I would like is for people to listen to my story and others like mine and show tolerance. I came here because I had to leave. Nobody comes here voluntarily like that. A lot of people die along the way. I know sometimes we don't understand or speak the language too well. But if people listen and show tolerance, we can all learn to understand each other better.